Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Rapha'Yah. We are going to go ahead and start this amazing Torah portion, Terumah, which means contributions. We will see what the Creator means by contributions or Terumah, and we will see what happens to when you give to the Creator. What do you receive? Who do you give it to in reality? Of course, we give it to the Creator, but in reality, who do we give it to? We'll find out about that. We're also going to find out why is giving very important as what is called TZEDAKAH, share giver in the scriptures, and what is that to do a lot with us when it comes to be a cheerful giver. What does it mean nowadays? We'll find out all that. And right before we start, if you have not subscribed, please do so you can get the latest in all the productions that we are getting, especially music. Music is coming out, especially in English. I'm doing a lot of productions, a lot of English productions are coming very, very soon. And there is one already out in Amazon, in Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, all the platforms. The music is out, and we are producing more and more. I don't want to get everything out all at once. We just get little by little drips here and there, so we can get the latest on everything that we are doing. Let's start on this parasha, on the Torah portion, where Yahweh speaks to Moshe. What does it mean when he says you should do a contribution? Let's jump in. 19, happens to be Torah portion 19, Exodus or Shemot 25 verse 1 through 27 verse 19. Yahweh said to Moshe, tell the children of Israel to make a terumah, which means the contributions for me. Accept a contribution from anyone who is willing to give it with all their heart. Yahweh makes a very important statement here, where he's making that statement that if someone is going to give to the Creator, he has to have a good heart. In other words, it's not by force, it's not by somebody's threatening you, but rather somebody who's willing to give. And that's what it's all about. When it comes to making a statement from yourself to the Creator, he said that we're supposed to do something for the kingdom of Yahweh, not only up on heavens, but here on earth. Remember what Mashiach said, everything that you bind in on earth will be bind in heavens, and everything you bind in heavens will be bind on earth. So everything is reciprocal. So let's jump into the next one. Look what it says here. 25 verse 8. You have to make me a kadosh place so I can dwell among them. This kadosh place happens to be the dwelling place, the dwelling tent, the Mishkan. This Mishkan happens to be a place where the word Mishkan also derives another word which happens to be later as a temple, which is Mikdash. Mikdash is a compound word which means Mikdash. If you take the kuf out of that equation, if you take that set apart from our Creator, from you and the Creator, then you don't have anything. You just have that place. You just have that building. But what the Creator wants us is to be set apart from us to Him. And that's very, very crucial. 7 verse 5, I brought the children of Israel out from among them, and the Egyptians will know that I am Yahweh. The Creator always wanted you to understand that in the midst of all the Egyptians, Yahweh wanted to bring them out of this pagan nation. The same thing He's doing for all of us. He's doing it in the midst of us, which is inside of you. Why? Because inside of us, in our hearts, it dwells a lot of things, a lot of mannerisms, a lot of bad mannerisms. Let me give you a few examples. We have a lot of practices. We have a lot of traditions of men that we follow. And little by little, we're trying to find out, we are finding out what the Creator wants from us. And that's through searching the scriptures, finding out what are the pagan traditions that our Creator hates. And He's abhorred of all these pagan traditions. Nowadays, let me give you a few examples. Halloween, Christmas, New Year's years or Eve. I'm just giving you a couple, but there are many. And believe me, those are the major ones that our Creator wants us to get rid of. Why? Because if you start doing research, you'll find out that these pagan traditions have nothing to do with the Creator, but rather have a lot to do with the nations and traditions and demonology. The book of Haggai 2 verse 5, this is keeping the word of Yah, word that I promised in a covenant with you when you left Egypt, and my spirit remains among you. Why? Because the Creator wanted our fathers to follow Torah, and following Torah follows what is the word Kadosh, to be set apart. When you start searching the scriptures, reading the scriptures, nourishing yourself with the scriptures, with the bread, you start making that separation between the world, the secular world, traditions, paganism, and be that set apart for the Creator, keeping Shabbat, the festivals, the Torah festivals, and everything. You become set apart to the Creator, not to the world, but to the Creator. And the Creator start putting little by little His spirit, His Ruach HaKodesh, His inspiration, so you understand better and better and have more knowledge. And that's what the Creator wants from all of us. Exodus 15, look what it says here, verse 17. You will carry them and plant them in your own mountain, in the place where ye made to dwell. O Yahweh, the Mikdash, the dwelling, Yahweh, your hands establish. This place, this mountain Sinai, Horeb, right? It's the place where our Creator gave the 10 words, where the same place where they sinned with the golden calf, the place where our forefathers, they literally said everything that our Father Yahweh said we will do and execute. They will blindly said it without asking any questions, which, don't get me wrong, was good. But at the same token, we see that the same matter they answer, the same matter they sin, by doing exactly what the Creator said don't do. Let's switch real quick with a gear. And these are the Torah calendar, the 12 months on the Torah calendar. Right on the third month over here, our Creator gave the 10 words in the Feast of Shavuot. Whatever is rest on the months are 9 months that rest throughout the whole year. These 9 months are basically the time the fetus, the baby, is growing inside the mother's womb. Similarly, we see that this alludes to our human nature. And this one points ultimately to the Mashiach. This baby that grows inside the mother's womb for 9 months are indeed something that we can pretty much see that the Creator is establishing as a way of understanding how the Creator works in the Torah. These mirror exactly what the baby is. Our Creator said to Moshe, you need to do this. You need to make me this this mishkan, this tent, this dwelling place, this tent of the meeting, where I will reside among you. And exactly what he did, he made the dwelling place exactly right in the middle, so everybody will be around it. It's amazing how the Creator made this happen. It's amazing how he dwelled in the kabod, the steam of Yahweh came down from the Shemayim, the heavens. This is just a picture. It's how we can imagine and at least just a fraction how everything was and how the Creator was able to dwell among our forefathers. This Mishkan, Yahweh said, made me, needed to be special. This Mishkan was basically a shadow. Look at what the book of Hebrews 8:5 said. But what they are serving only a copy, a replica, a shadow of the original things of the Shemayim heavens. See, we tend to think, brothers and sisters, that the Mishkan, the dwelling, the tent of the meeting that Moshe made in the wilderness was the original one. No, it wasn't. It was just a replica. The original is on heaven until now. And we tend to think that everything that was made here, everything is just a mirror. Everything's just a pattern of the original. And it's always been like that since day one. Let me give you an example. The word salal, T-S-L-A-L-A-L, salal means image, shadow. And this word is used when Yahweh made Adam. And he said, let's make man in our own image and reflection. See, this image is basically the shadow, what the Creator wanted and intended to begin with in day one. It's that Adam wanted to be a shadow of Yahweh. Just seems Yahweh is everything from the Shemayim, from heavens. He wanted Adam to make the paradise from heaven here on earth. But what happened? Our father Adam sinned. Our mother Eve sinned. So everything went down the hill. All these elements, the lampstand, the menorah, the basin, the altar, the court, the incense, the ark, the table of showbread, all this it is a mirror of the heavenly things. The original is still in heaven. Chapter 25, verse 2, the Creator said that He wants our forefathers to give a Terumah, an offering. But all this, as I stated in the very beginning, it was basically for their own benefit. All this is for their own benefit. We have to think outside the box in our life. We tend to think that when it comes to our Creator, I know that a lot of people like to rip other people off, and a lot of scams out there. But when it comes to giving to the Creator, we need to know who we need to give it to. A respectful entity. And let me give an example. When the Creator said that He wanted for us to give a terumah, terumah is basically an offering. This is a command, by the way. The ma'asin is basically the 10th% or the tithe. Also is a command. All this I'm not telling you that you shouldn't do. We need to do, all of us, including myself. But we need to understand something very, very important. This is a command the Creator is giving to all of us, and there is no way around it. A lot of people tend to think that just because there is no Mishkan, no temple, no tent of the meeting, we don't have to give it anymore. But the reality is that we do. Let me give an example. The place where you at, don't we need to pay for the electricity, for the rental place, for the place where we are gathering at? We need to pay for all this. But we tend to think that everything is free. It's not. That place is for our own benefits. So In reality, we are investing for ourselves, in other words. This is not for somebody else, it's for ourselves. But in the other token of the coin, all the other entity needs to be clean and need to be clear when it comes to finances. Give a report every month or every 6 months to make sure everything is clear to the congregation. And all this is for our own good, so we can make a good report in front of everybody. Now, let me talk a little bit of something very, very intriguing. Look at what the Torah says in 26:28. The middle crossbar towards the middle of the board will stand from one end to the other. This crossbar was going to be something that it was going to hold the entire tent. The word tabech means between, bisection, center, or half. But this word is the same word or root word which means inside of us, inside of a person, inside. What the Creator is using right here is that a mediator needed to be in between, just like the crossbar needed to be in between the tent of the meeting. Also, the Mashiach is pointing at the Mashiach in this very verse. Our Mashiach is the connection between us and the Father. No wonder why the Mashiach said, "No one comes to the Father except by me." This crossbar that needed to be on the tent of the meeting needed to hold the entire Mishkan. And it's the same as the Mashiach. Mashiach is holding everything that we can think of. Why? Because as I stated before in previous Torah portions, the Mashiach is the word, is the word of Yahweh, is the Torah itself. Mashiach is the one that is being used by our Father to convey every action, including the creation. The elements, stoichim, which is translated from the Greek to as an atom, will be dissolved with fire, and the earth and the works that are on it will be consumed. 2 Peter 3:10, the Greek word translated as elements in the above passage from Colossians, and also Peter is a stoichon, which means the building blocks of the universe or order arrangement of things. In other words, Mashiach is holding everything because he is the word of Yahweh. He is the one being used by our Father, Yahweh. And I explained it many times why the Mashiach is being used as a servant. See, we have to understand that no command comes unless the mouth is open. If your mouth is open, if you're the individual speaking of the word, who gives the command? The word or the person, the entity, or the person who's speaking? Of course, if you don't talk, the word is not going to come out. So who's the one giving the command? Yahweh. The Mashiach is being the drive, in other words, of what is happening. All this I explained it many times in different parashuts, different Torah portions, and we will move on. This crossbar that was holding the entire Mishkan was going to be utilized, and it was very, very important. And according to the Torah and other Hebrew manuscripts, this crossbar miraculously was going to be placed there and was going to hold the entire tent. Do you believe that? It's unbelievable how the Creator was able to make this happen. This tent of the meeting was nothing but a miracle, to be honest with you. Colossians 1:16, talking about our Mashiach, because in connection with them, all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones, dominions, rulers, and authorities. All things have been created by Him. By Him, the terminology by Him means through Him. And for Him, This terminology means that he's the cause of it. All things are done because he's the ones inheriting all things. The son is the one who inherits everything. And who's the son? Yeshua. Where does this talk about that? Let me give you just one example. Psalms 17:19 says very clear, in this day I have begotten you. Ask me and I will give you on the inheritance of all the nations. So all this is definitely something that we need to think about. I'm going to close with this. We are looking up a diagram of the Mishkan. We have 3 places here. The first one, it's the court, the outer court, where the circle is. The second is the Kadosh place. And the third is the Kadosh HaKadoshim. The problem nowadays is when you come to the Torah, when you come to the knowledge, we tend to think that we already made it. Once we come to learn a little bit of the Torah, when you do the Tevilah, which is the immersion. I know they call it the baptism, but the original word is the immersion or the Tevilah. And then you do all the things, basic things, repentance, right? You do a lot of few elements that are necessary, but you tend to think that that's it. You don't have to do anything else. You just have to wait for the Mashiach to return. That's not the case. The case is that we need to go back and examine ourselves, because after you have repented, you do the immersion. That's why you see the Mizbeach or Korban, which is when you do the repentance, and then you do the washing, the immersion. These 2 things are the basic, but you need to do all the things which is here. You need to eat the word. You need to study the word. You need to do the menorah. You need to ask for direction. You need to ask for wisdom here. And then you need to do prayer, the tefillah. All these are important in order for you to grow. The problem is that we don't want to do it. 14:6 of Ezekiel, therefore say to the house of Israel, us, the Yahweh my Almighty says, do teshubah, do repentance, turn away from your idols, turn your faces from abominable things. Exactly what we're doing, but the problem is that we think that just because we are doing it and we already did it, that's all there is to it. No, it isn't. We need to grow. We need to excel another level. Ezekiel 22 verse 18, Ben Adam, the house of Israel has become for me a mixture of base metals. They are all copper, thin iron, lead mixed together in the crucible, the dross left over from the silver. All this was basically something that the Creator is stating here, that the copper is another word for judgment. We bring judgment to ourselves when we come to do tevilah and repentance. Let me explain to you why. When we come to the things of the Creator and you do teshubah, repentance, you are already making a judgment to our own selves. You're making a decision to follow our Creator, to follow the real Mashiach. From that moment on, you need to keep going. From the moment that you stop, you are rejecting yourself from the kingdom of Yahweh. Nobody else but yourself. And this is very in thin ice, my brothers. So let me give you a few examples. Hebrews chapter 6, 1 and 2. Therefore, Let us leave behind the elementary teachings about the Mashiach, the move towards maturity, without laying again the foundation of repentance from dead works, of faith in Yahweh, of the teachings on baptism or immersion or tevilah, of the laying on of hands, the resurrection of the dead, and of infinite judgment. All these are base elements. All these are foundational elements that we need to learn. The elementary teachings. But what is the problem? The problem is that we can't grow. We only being given milk. That's all. We cannot give something a little bit hard. Why? Because we are in constant things of the world. We don't want to make that change, and that's a problem right here. First Corinthians 3:1, and as for me, brothers, I could not speak to you as a spiritual people, but as a carnal, secular, in other words, as to infants in Mashiach. I fed you with milk, not solid food, and from now you were not able to receive it, and even now you're not still be able. The problem now, we have to understand that we are very much like babies. We don't want to learn. We only learn what we want to learn. But the problem is that we are constant learning and learning, but we never learn anything because we don't want to learn. We just want to be there in the outer court. And that is a problem. There's a problem of itself. And let me tell you why. Let me just close with this. The book of Deuteronomy, or Devarim 31:26, take a book of the Torah and place it next to the ark with the covenant of Yahweh, your Almighty. And it will be there inside of you as a testimony. I know that this very verse says it will be against you, but the word in Hebrew does not say against you, but rather inside of it, within you, in other words. What the Creator meant in this word is that if you are doing the things of the Creator, if you are obeying the Torah, Yah will put His Spirit, and it will be dwell among us. That's no brainer. But let me give you an example of this. Okay? Let me give an example of this. When you are learning the Torah, the Kohen HaGadol needed to go inside the dwelling place, the Mishkan. The ark itself was made of a cover with pure gold. Pure gold is elastic. You can actually, extend it as much as you can. And pure gold, when you extend it to a point where you can actually see yourself almost like a mirror. The Kohen HaGadol, the high official, needed to go inside, and he got on his knees. He literally saw himself like somebody looking at the mirror. Yahweh says the same thing when he speaks with Shaul, Kepha, Peter, Paul. And Paul says very clear that just as yourself look yourself in the mirror, we need to look at yourself the same as with the Torah. How? Keep looking at the Torah every day. Keep studying at the Torah every day, so that way the Torah is telling us the things that we shouldn't and we should have. Just like yourself, when you're looking at your mirror, some of the things you don't like, you need to fix. Same thing with the Torah. The Torah is dictating us the things that we need to do, that we ought to do, and with the things that we shouldn't be doing right now. I'm Moreh Rapha'Yah. We'll see you next time. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so you can get the latest in all the productions that we are working on. Shabbat Shalom.
To our channel and give us a like. Thank you. We'll begin.
Rabbah. If you like this video, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel. There's more content in production. Thank you.